My whole station is covered in this fleece material. I'm gonna be coughing tonight. Oh my god. Hi, I'm Sylvie, and as a proud Canadian, I am such a fan of heated Rivalry right now. If you're new to my videos, any clicking noise that you hear in the background is this Velcro dog walking on the floor. And this sweater that Shane wears for the Sochi Olympics has kind of gone viral. People have been asking where to get it, and it turns out that they made it for the show. Now, you may have seen the whole thing where I think Hockey Canada was thinking of making it, but I don't want to wait for that. I want to make it myself. So here's the plan. I went to Fabricland today and I got the end of the bolt of this cute little white fleece. It's not the softest thing in the world, but it will do. Because it was the end of the bolt, I believe it was $17 a meter, which if you've ever shopped for fleece before, you know is not crazy bad. This is what we got going on here. We've also got zippers for the front, for the breast pocket, and for the side pockets. Bias tape for that little red stripe that there is on the neck, and I believe the zipper's got a little red like string on it. I might just try and improvise something out of that. And as for the lettering, I'm gonna be using this red fleece and making my own appliques. There was like this sort of limited selection of maple leaves, and they were all very small, so this is what we're using. So I've printed out these letters in the size that I sort of want, and I have some iron-on interfacing. So I'm gonna be tracing this on the sticky side. I know that sounds crazy. And now that means I can iron it onto my piece of fleece. And the only reason I'm doing the interfacing is because this fleece really stretches and I don't want it to stretch while I'm sewing and deform all the letters. Fortunately, the tedious part of this is to cut this out. The other thing that you could do is if you have double-sided interfacing, you could stick it onto the one side, and then when you're ready to stick it onto the actual piece, I guess, then you just iron it onto the other side. It's like you created an iron-on patch instead of a sew-on. We have one letter. Here's my A. I know this is tedious, but at least it's gonna be pretty clean. And here's the back. Oh, if you want to see the difference, this is it with the interfacing versus the stretch with no interfacing. Okay, can we take a moment, because I actually cannot believe how precise this was. Like, I did that with scissors. Scissors! Next, I want to pattern my back piece and front pieces, which should be pretty easy. I usually just model it off of other sweaters that I have. So for me, that will be this lovely sweater. Anyway, I'm just going to be tracing everything that I want and leaving a seam allowance, and I will come back to you. Okay, and that is what that gave for my front piece. Now for the back piece, I'm going to do something extremely similar, except that it's going to be straight and it's going to be cut on the fold. So I'm going to cut 2 of these pieces, one back piece, and come back to you. Hello, I'm on the ground. Now, full disclosure, for the sleeves pattern, I'm kind of just winging it because I've done enough sleeves before. There is a math formula, but I basically just drew it out and then kind of like stuck it in the hole from my other pattern, so that I kind of like ballpark know what it needs to look like. You make it a little bit bigger than you think you might need. You can always adjust it after, and it'll probably be fine. But I'm sort of just adding kind of like 1.5 inches to what I had patterned. And then just because I didn't have enough pattern paper left, it's actually going to be a little bit longer than what I had drawn out here, with some extra so that I can fold the bottom, put an elastic in, and then I'm just going to cut the exact same thing again so that I have 2 sleeves. The only thing that I have not yet patterned or cut out is the collar piece, but we're going to do that after because it's a little bit easy. What I want to do right now is test run directly onto this naturally my little sew-on appliques. So I will be pinning them onto the sleeve right in the center, and I'll show you guys how I'm going to sew it, but I'm going to first baste it. However, I'm going to pin them on first. So of course, theme of the day, we are eyeballing. So I pinned it in the center, and I'm going to make it so that the peak, pretty much exactly 6 inches. So the peak is 6 inches from the top of the shoulder, so I'm gonna pin that on the other one as well. This is where it gets interesting. So I'm just gonna go very, very slow, but I'm going to be basting this Now, is there a small chance that I based it all by hand here? And by hand, I mean just manually rotating the sewing machine. Yes, yes, there is. And this is just so that when I go do the next step, none of these move around. This is where if you had the double-sided interfacing, it probably would have come in handy a lot more for you. Because you wouldn't be having to do this, you would just be ironing it on and you can just call it a nice big beautiful day. I think it shifted a little bit, but honestly, whatever. So now let's zigzag. I'm putting it at a stitch width of about 3 and a length of so close. Oh, not even 3. Let's do a stitch width of 2. Let's make it tiny. And now let's just test that out. Oh yeah. All right. It's gonna be teeny tiny and I'm gonna trace the entire outline. Okay, wish me luck. Wow. This is basically just encasing all of my raw edges, which is really fun. And if I get to a harsher corner, then I just lift my foot and turn it around. There you go. Is it slightly lopsided? Yes. Do I care? No. And are my edges nice and secure? Yes, they are. I got the hang of it a lot better on this side than the first side, but I'm glad that we're learning on one of these instead of on the back side when I do the Canada, which is gonna take forever. But here's what it looks like on the back side. You can really see how much more I've messed up on the back, but it's all good. My second one, I'm happy to say, went a lot better. Oh, that's the second one is definitely a lot sharper, a lot straighter, and the back you can see is way neater. But we're just not gonna talk about the first one. It's fine. I need to take a break, however, from this embroidery because I'm gonna go crazy if I keep doing it. So we're gonna start doing a little bit of assembly for this because I haven't decided if I'm gonna line it yet or not. But what I know that I can do is put the shoulder pieces together, right sides together. And whether I line it or not doesn't really matter because I can just add the lining afterwards. So I'm gonna sew these shoulder pieces and shoulder pieces only. But this is red thread. Do I want to be lazy right now? I just keep embroidering everything. Oh my god. My whole station is covered in this fleece material. I'm gonna be coughing tonight. Oh my god. Maybe I should just install the zipper in and just not line it and we call it a day. Okay, well, to avoid any more lopsidedness, is this one upside down? Yes, it is. Oh, we're gonna salvage that. Okay, what was I saying? Yes, to avoid any more self-inflicted lopsidedness on this, I am using Gem Tack. I know it's not Fabri-Tac, but it does stick to fabric. Take that with a grain of salt, considering that we're sticking onto fleece. It's not gonna be perfect. Anyway, while that dries, I'm gonna try to pattern the collar piece. I have to watch my other video on how I did the other one. I'm thinking, do I really wanna line this? You know what I mean? Like, do I really wanna line this? This is pretty thick. Like, the back of it is not uncomfortable. So I'm thinking, why? Oh, this is cute. Oh, this is cute. Okay. Why would I line this? All right, so I just measured basically, let me show you, this portion plus what it would be on the other side, which is the same, plus that on the back, which gives me 16 inches. So essentially my collar does need to be 16 inches. That pattern piece needs to be 16 inches. That also makes sense because that includes the seam allowance. So I'm gonna cut essentially a giant rectangle that is 16 inches wide, and I'm gonna make it, because we want it pretty long, so let's call it 7 inches tall, so that when it's folded over plus seam allowance, it's kind of like a 3-inch collar, and 16 inches wide. And that's how I pattern things, you know, it's very efficient. Here's that piece of fabric, fold it in half, and ta-da, we have a nice collar. Is it perfect? No. Did I do it? Yes. Are my shoulders hurting from being like this over the sewing machine? Yes. Yay! Hi! It's actually cute. Canada. Our machine now yearns for a drink of oil, and I'll give that to it soon. But I've switched my white thread. Now I'm grabbing the back piece, and it's going right sides together at the shoulders. Oh. I'll deal with the pockets after. I'll do pockets after. This is why I'm gonna stop for the night, because I need to have some supper and I'm exhausted. But let me show you. This is pretty much it. Well, not really, because this thing has pockets, so. Yay! Oh my gosh! Team Canada, hire me. I cannot believe that this was hand cut and hand sewn. Is that my messed up one? No, this one is. I did add on the collar. Well, obviously it's not done. Yeah, now I'm gonna put the zipper in. And then once the zipper is in, I'm gonna fold the collar in half like this. And this bottom half is going to cover the seam here of the collar. Or like where the collar attaches, it'll just look like this on the inside. Okay, another update. So both of the zippers I got, because I got 2 lengths, neither of them are long enough. However, I figured out how to do the zipper on the front. So I don't have a pocket in here yet, but basically what I did is just slice a big hole in the front with 2 little V's. I tacked down the little triangles that made, and I sewed in the zipper like I would with any other zipper. Okay, my lungs are probably coated in this stuff because I keep coughing. But I just wanted to show you the last thing that I'm doing or that I have done for the evening, which was this pocket. There you go. We have a cute little pocket. Here's what it looks like on the back side. So I just sewed the fleece directly on. I was a little bit lazy with it. I just serged the edges like this and just sewed it down because you can't really tell with the fleece. If you were to do this and you don't have a serger, you can either zigzag the edges and do that, or you can just fold all the edges in so that there's no raw edges showing on the inside. It is the next morning. If it looks like I've been crying, it's because I just watched the Florida Project and the last 20 minutes of it had me just bawling my eyes out. Today is a new day, and today I'm pretty much done. So what I want to do is be a little lazy and just serge. I'm gonna use my serger to essentially just get this all straight so that it can sew a little bit easier when I do the zipper, and then it'll be seamless on the inside. I'm gonna serge this edge as well where the collar attaches so that when this folds over, it'll be easier to do. And actually I'll probably serge this as well. I know there's this whole stigma about the serger being lazy or whatever, but look, sometimes you just want to be lazy, you know? I also feel like with this sweater, it's kind of like a fun if you know you know sort of situation. In a way, it sort of represents inclusivity. If someone sees you in public with that, then automatically, if they've watched the show or they know anything about the show, then they know that you're at least an ally. Okay, here's where we got to. Oh no, my camera's gonna die. But anyway, okay. I got the zipper on the front. It still needs to be like tacked down. And then I got both the pockets on the front as well. So here's what they look like on the inside. Now what I'm gonna do is right sides together, fold it like so, with a little bit of the raw edge of it showing. And then I'll show you what I'm doing after, but I'm just gonna be sewing this side and leave just my seam allowance off at the bottom of the corner, at the bottom corner. But yeah, just sewing like from here to here, basically right sides together. I've got both of my corners sewn together. So now when I flip it inside out, you can see that just the zipper is sticking out. And now what I'm gonna do is roll in that seam allowance that I've left raw, like that. And I'm gonna sew it here, essentially stitch in the ditch from this line on the other side. And it's going to completely hide this seam here. Completely seamless on the back, completely seamless here because of what I had just explained. The zipper doesn't reach all the way to the top, but I just don't care because I did not want to go and get another zipper. Now this is pretty much completely done. I've already given the bottom a hem, just the exact way that I kind of explained that I would do it. I serged and then serged and tacked it down like so. But now the only thing that I'm gonna do so that the zipper doesn't flip inside out is put a nice straight seam the entire way so that it stays down. And then this will be done. And that is it, you guys. I can't believe I pulled this off, especially with no pattern. And I really did not have to use a seam ripper. Like, this was the first time I think I've ever done a project with no pattern or even with a pattern where I have not had to pull the seam ripper out. With that said, these are a little tiny bit short. Like, they fit me, but if I really like stick my arms out, they kind of come down. So I might undo the rolled hem that I did. However, it's fine. Just cutting all of these myself, that's the part that I'm the most impressed with because I've never done that before. Even down to the little tag that I made out of bias tape. Little zip that works. 2 more little zips that work. Pocket, a deep pocket too. But yeah, let me know if you've watched this show, what your favorite episode was. But with all that said, thank you guys so much for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Oh my gosh, everything, the whole floor is covered in the aftermath of working with this stupid fleece.